Don't tell my granddad about this.
A pickle Rick!
What the hell are you talking about?
We've got all your favorites. HBO Max.
Yo, what's up, Comic-Con? My name is Carl Jones, the co-executive producer of The Boondocks and executive producer and writer of Black Dynamite, the animated series, and Lazor Wulf.
Hey, it's me. It's Olan Rogers, creator of Final Space.
My name is Genndy Tartakovsky. I'm the creator and director of Senreich and Primal.
My name is Senreich, and I'm the creator of Lazor Wulf.
Hello, friends. This is Seth Green, the co-creator of Robot Chicken, and I'm here with
Matthew Senreich, co-creator of Robot Chicken.
I hope you're going to love it. At worst, you'll hate it. But it's an experience.
1996 was my first year, so if you count, how many is that? 24? 24 times, which is scary to think about.
the first time I went was in 94, I guess, or 95 maybe. And then I've only missed 2, I believe. So I'm probably working about the same numbers.
Up on you.
I bet you are. Well, because you were there a year that I wasn't there.
I remember we FaceTimed you on the panel.
You have somebody on.
I just want to say hi to Seth.
Say what's up to Seth real quick, guys. Is there something you want to say?
Me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right on. I miss you. I hope you guys are having a good panel.
I think the short answer is over 20 times.
Well said.
Thanks.
I've been to San Diego Comic-Con probably, maybe 20 times now. And it's always pretty amazing experience for me from the time that I first started going as just a comic book fan, then through Dexter's Laboratory, through all the shows, and now with Primal.
3 times. I've been 3 times. All 3 times for Final Space. And that's it. That's all I've ever done. I am a noob.
Here's a surprise. I've never been to a San Diego Comic-Con.
The one thing I won't miss, probably the incredible amount of people. Loving all the people, but just too many at one spot. It's really, sometimes you can't even get through the convention hall. And so the crowds is probably something that I don't think about missing. Usually when I get there and I see how busy it is, I just want to turn around and drive back home. So.
Actually, one thing I least miss, the one thing I least miss about San Diego Comic-Con, walking through the nest of people on the ground floor, and the overwhelming smell of BO. Oh boy, it is, because it's hot. It's hot in there. You can't blame the people. They're in just decked out costumes, but
Comic-Con smells like nachos, armpits, and hot spandex. That's right. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I would miss the smell the least.
We were doing autographs for Black Dynamite, and a guy brought a stolen bus ad, a Black Dynamite stolen bus ad, and he asked us all to sign it. He had no shame whatsoever. And after we all signed it, he had the nerve to try to sell it back to me. And yes, I did buy it.
After the panel, this is one of the earlier days. I had to really go to the bathroom afterward. I raced into the bathroom and it was like everybody coming out of the panel who were like heading in that direction. And I remember standing at the urinal and this person standing maybe an inch behind me and being like, why is this person, not stepping back a beat to actually use that urinal? And as soon as I turned around, he held out his hand saying, I just wanted to shake your hand. And it was one of those moments I will never forget, for good or for bad. But yeah, it was definitely an awkward moment. And that has been my defining moment at Comic-Con for Robot Chicken. Sorry.
I wish
don't
I
know if
could.
that's a
I
good
wish
or
I
bad
could
thing.
say that never happened to me, but that happened to me with such frequency that I made the decision to never use urinals and to only use stalls. As far as individual fan interactions, I don't have any that are more prominent than others, but I think that's the thing I like the most about those cons is the opportunity to spend a minute with the people that are watching the show or fans of the show. It feels like a communal thing where we all feel in it together. It doesn't feel like we're the providers and they're the audience. It feels like those. I even joke when we're on the panel. I'm like, this is your panel. We're all in this together. This is your panel, whatever you want it to be.
My most memorable fan interaction. I can't say I've had one of those yet. Not at a San Diego Comic-Con. But if you have one, let me know.
I've had some really great fan interactions. I think just recently now, because of the time that Samurai Jack and Dexter and Clone Wars and stuff and Powerpuff Girls have been on the air, there's been generations. And so more recently I've been getting feedback where people come up and they go, oh, I've been watching the show with my dad or my mom or something, and it's something that they've bonded over. And so that's been really amazing, and to see more of it. So that's been kind of newer. And then the other thing is whenever somebody comes up to me and says that my shows have inspired them to get into animation or get into comic books or drawing, that's huge, because that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, I wish I could have told some of my heroes like Tex Avery or Chuck Jones or Bob Clampett how much their shows, their cartoons inspired me.
Biggest fanboy moment? I don't really have a big fanboy moment because I am terrified to go up to any celebrity and talk to them, okay? Straight up. I actually just kind of sit in the back and eat the free food and just hope that I fade into oblivion, okay? That's me. That's what I do.
My biggest fanboy moment would have to be when I met Stan Lee at the bank. But this was in Beverly Hills, and I was standing in line with my little Boondocks check, and he was in front of me at the teller, probably cashing a very, very big Avengers check. And then he turned around and walked right towards me. And I said, hey. And he said, hey. And then he kept walking. And I went home and cried because that was a very touching moment for me.
I'm a huge Edgar Wright fan. And I got to start talking to him on DM on Twitter. And he said he was at this bar in San Diego. And if I got there quickly, I'd be able to say hi. But I had a dinner meeting that I had to be at. So I had about 5 minutes to be able to race over there. I raced there as fast as I could. I got up there. I probably had about 2 minutes. And he was crowded around probably 20 different people. I interrupted them all. I said hi. He started talking, and then there was this awkward pause because all the other people around us were now paying attention to this conversation to see what I was going to say, and I found myself completely blanked of what the important thing I was going to say to spend 2 minutes with this guy that I idolized. So it ended up being this awkward, silent moment, and I was like, just good to meet you, and I ended up basically running out of that interaction. And it's been a couple years since I've talked to him since.
I love the cons because you wind up just running into other awesome people that you might not have an opportunity to meet. And there's something about both, the connectivity of social media and also that everyone is there at San Diego for a similar type of thing. And so there's an automatic camaraderie even amongst people that you haven't met necessarily before. We were at some green room and, there were like half a dozen shows all around, and I saw Guillermo del Toro back there, and I couldn't even remember if we had met before, but we locked eyes from across the room, and I was like, I'm going in. And I just walked right over to him, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah. And we took a picture with our heads close together. We're both like, yeah.
I'd say check the credits of the show, the voice actor credits on the show. I'm pretty much a fan of all of those people.
Well, a story that I've talked about here and there, but I don't know if most people know about it, is one of my first experiences was a Dexter's Lab panel. So we're talking about maybe 1996 or something like that. And so Cartoon Network at the time had only 8 million viewers, which is nothing compared to Nickelodeon at the time had like, I think, 60 or 80 million. And so there was a Dexter's Lab panel. It was my first panel that I ever was doing, and I was so excited. And I go, well, I don't know how many people are going to show up. And then I get there, and it's a full house, right? All the seats are taken. I'm so excited. I get on, and I do the presentation. We show a cartoon. It gets a really good reaction. I'm so excited. And I'm like, all right, thank you. And then I walk off stage, and not one person leaves. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, Michelle Yeoh comes on stage, and the whole audience erupts. And basically, they were all there to see her, and they were just going to sit through my panel so they could keep a seat. So it was really a big reality check for me. And it was my first experience.
My favorite behind the scenes moment would have to be after a Black Dynamite panel when this fan came up to Michael Jai White and begged him to be his student. He literally got down on his knees and said, "Master, please, will you show me the way?" And I was like, yo, is this guy serious? And he was, and he stayed there, and Michael Jai White kind of went along with it. And I imagine right now he is waxing on and off Michael Jai White's floors right now and probably painting his fence.
I don't give myself responsibilities to have to meet up with specific people. I know where everybody is, but the people I'm with at that moment, I am with, and I'll let them take me wherever the night will take me at Comic-Con. And it's going to be great, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be the best night of my life. I say I drink maybe 10 times out of the year, and 4 of them are the nights of Comic-Con, where I will just have the best night of my life, and every one of them ends up being that way with whoever it is that I'm interacting with.
I remember we were at the Pizza Hut Lounge. We're at the Pizza Hut Lounge. It was me and Coty from Final Space. He plays Avocado. And the Walking Dead guys walked in. They're getting their photos taken. I really don't know what the lounge thing is, but there's you get your photos taken, and then there's pizza and food and stuff, and you wait to get your picture taken so they can put it on Getty Images, and you have to pay $1 million to get the image, okay? But look, we're in there waiting around because we're Final Space. Nobody really cares, okay? Walking Dead guys come in. Oh my God, they're just freaking hot stuff, right? They're getting their pictures taken. It looks amazing. I'm peeking the pictures. Awesome. Coty sees Norman Reedus, and he's a huge fan of Norman Reedus. I mean, who isn't a fan of Norman Reedus, right? But he loves his motorcycle show, okay? And he's like, man, I wonder if I can get on his motorcycle show. It's like, dude, go up and talk to him. Talk to this guy, right? And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So I remember when we were walking by him as we were passing, Walking Dead people coming here to the Pizza Hut Lounge. We were going past them because we were going on the way out. And I remember I bumped Coty into Norman Reedus, forcing him to talk to Norman Reedus. They hit it off, right? You can tell. He's laughing. Coty said a joke. I don't know what it was. It was all about 30 seconds. But Norman Reedus was like, yeah, talk to my PR person or the person that handles his stuff, right? Coty somehow was going to be on his motorcycle show. And I remember Coty turns to me. He's like, oh my God, I think I'm going to be on it. And he didn't know who to talk to. Norman Reedus clicked off into the air, says talk to Christine or Chris or something like that, and he didn't know who Christine or Chris was, so he never got the information to be on his motorcycle show. And then I remember when we did the Final Space panel, at the end of the panel, Coty was so hyped that he had met Norman Reedus that he said something into the mic at the very end of it. It's like, isn't Comic-Con great? You can meet awesome people like Norman Reedus. But the mic cut out at the first part of that information, so it just sounded like he shouted, Norman Reedus! And the entire panel is just like, what does that even mean? And I remember I talked to him, I was like, dude, why did you just shout Norman Reedus into the mic? He's like, no, I said Comic-Con's great. You meet great people like Norman Reedus. It sounded like he just shouted Norman Reedus' name for no apparent reason.
One of my favorite memories is actually from a different con. When we were putting out our Walking Dead special, we had a panel, and Breck and I were both on it, and the conversation had, before we knew we were, or actually after we had gotten Andrew Lincoln to play Rick Grimes in our Walking Dead special, and we announced that, Brecken and I on stage talked about auditioning for that role. Not knowing that Andrew Lincoln was going to play it, we both in real time auditioned on stage and did our best Rick Grimes impersonations for the like 1,500 person audience. And there's something about that moment, because I was like, no, I got this, and I was like, come here, Carl, come here, Carl. And then Brecken like jumps over the table and he's like, Carl, damn it, Carl, don't you do this, Carl. And then I got down on my knees and I started going, Lori. We were like both fully committed to the dramatic retelling of some of the more important moments in The Walking Dead. And it was just so silly. It was like Brecken and I doing dueling Rick Grimes. That's not my favorite impersonation to do, but in that moment, that's one of my favorite moments of performing an impersonation at a con. I still haven't seen the footage from that. I just remember it being so silly.
I remember that moment very well.
Yeah.
Again,
right before Brecken was carried off stage by that kid Emmett.
I always wonder, like, with these moments, like, someone always asks you to perform, from Walking Dead. Not Walking Dead, I apologize. Family Guy. And, but what I always love is the, spontaneous moments of the characters that you play. Like, another one that I always remember is, Brecken went into this whole thing about him playing Lindsay Lohan with this ridiculous voice that he did, and started talking about Britney Spears, and you committed to doing your Britney Spears voice from the first season. And the two of you with those over-the-top crazy voices that you did.
Excuse me, madam.
What?
I found several pairs of discarded undergarments just over my fence. They are all soiled with some kind of unidentifiable substance, and I'm curious if they came from your side.
Don't you know who I am? My name is Lindsay
It went on for like 15 minutes on stage.
Lindsay's like this. Alex like this.
And they both hurt my head.
It just cracks me up. Just watch. It's those random moments that you don't expect, more so than, hey, Seth plays the nerd on Robot Chicken.
I don't know. I think really what I miss about physical table reads is just being in the same room, not 6 feet apart, right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, sitting there, reading through a script.
He pulls Gary's arm, trying to free him. Friend mode, engaged.
Hearing people laugh, huh? Right? Sprays of mist laughter. And you're just accepting it, right? Because that's the energy. That is an experience. I miss that. Now it's all Zoom calls.
For the premiere of the last season of Samurai Jack, I didn't have any footage to show, but I wanted to show something from the new season, and so I decided to pitch my opening sequence to the first episode that I was storyboarding. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go down, but I pitch with sound effects. I don't try to do too much explanation.
They all stand up. Pan down these cool ass horns to this mysterious samurai warrior on this massive bike. Takes out a gun.
So it's kind of like me beatboxing with music and sound effects through the whole cartoon. And so it was the opening, and it was great. It went over really well, and there's usually a lot of laughter from that.
Wheelies up, We zoom in tight, spikes come out.
Well, that's it from me.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh my God, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Hope you cried.
Thank you.
Bye.
And remember, you can watch all 10 seasons of Robot Chicken,
Primal, and Samurai Jack.
All 4 seasons of The Boondocks on HBO Max. And stay tuned for Black Dynamite and Lazor Wulf, which will be coming soon.